The grid goes dark in January, furnace dies, pipes freeze by morning. You've got maybe 3 hours before hypothermia starts setting in. That's not speculation. That's what happened across Eastern Ontario and Quebec in 1998. 5 weeks without power. In winter. The people who survived best didn't have $10,000 bunkers. They had stuff from Dollarama and Canadian Tire. Total cost under $40. This video covers 10 items, all under $10 each, that become impossible to replace once shelves empty. Most of them are already in your kitchen drawer. You just don't know what they actually do yet. And that gap is what kills people. Item 1. A 2-pack of BIC lighters from Dollarama. $2. Fire is the single non-negotiable when you're staring down a -20 Celsius night with no power. Matches fail wet. Ferrocerium rods require skill and 2 free hands. A BC works at -20 out of your coat pocket with 1 hand. Each lighter holds roughly 3,000 strikes. You're looking at fractions of a cent per ignition. You can light a candle, start a fire, seal a tarp edge, cauterize cordage to prevent fraying. People spend $40 on magnesium fire starters they've never actually used under stress. You don't need gear you haven't tested. You need a tool that works every single time you flick it. $1 for 3,000 fires. Nothing else in survival comes close to that ratio. Item 2. Tampons. Before you skip ahead, listen. Compressed sterile cotton in a waterproof wrapper. Field medics have packed wounds with this material since World War I. The original product, Cellucotton, was surgical material before it ever became a consumer item. You can pack a deep laceration to control bleeding. You can pull one apart for dry tinder that catches a spark instantly. The plastic applicator works as a bellows tip to direct airflow into an ember, or as a short straw filter for sediment. People buy $15 hemostatic gauze and never open the package. Combat medics didn't care about branding. They cared about stopping bleeds. Item 3. Tea lights in bulk. You can grab a bag of 100 from Canadian Tire for under $10. That's hundreds of combined burn hours. A single tea light inside a terracotta pot setup produces measurable radiant heat in a closed room. You're not heating a house. You're keeping a single room survivable. Stack 2 pots, one inside the other, over 3 or 4 tea lights. The terracotta absorbs heat and radiates it slowly. You get light and warmth from something most people only use during a power outage to find the flashlight. That's the wrong instinct. The candle isn't the backup, it's the primary. Heat you can hold in your hand for less than the price of a coffee. Item 4. Unscented bleach. $4 at No Frills. Here's what it actually does. 8 drops of 6% sodium hypochlorite per gallon of water. That's Health Canada's guideline for emergency purification. Let it sit 30 minutes. You've got drinkable water. 1 jug purifies hundreds of liters. Pennies per liter. People spend $80 on filter systems that clog, crack in the cold, or require replacement cartridges you can't get when supply chains collapse. Bleach works chemically. It doesn't care about water pressure or freezing temperatures it stores for months. $4. Hundreds of liters. Health Canada says it works. End of discussion. Item 5. This is the one most people get completely wrong. Mylar emergency blankets. You can buy a 5-pack for under $10. People stuff these into kits and never think about them again. During the 1998 ice storm, reflective insulation was one of the few things keeping people alive in powerless homes for weeks in January. Here's why, and pay attention to this part. Your body constantly radiates infrared energy. That's heat leaving you in every direction. The Stefan-Boltzmann law governs how much. Mylar reflects up to 97% of that radiated heat back to your body. It doesn't generate warmth. It catches what you're already throwing away. Layer 1 inside a sleeping bag. Tape 1 to the wall behind a candle setup, and you've created a directional heat reflector. Line a shelter ceiling with it. That 97% figure is not marketing, it's physics. You can measure it, you can test it tonight. Take your sleeping bag into a -15 Celsius garage. Sleep one night without Mylar, one night with it layered inside. You'll never question it again. A $2 sheet of metallized film outperforms a $200 sleeping bag upgrade. Cheap beats complex, remember that. It doesn't make heat, it catches the heat you're already throwing away. Item 6, duct tape. Not a cliché, a genuine multi-role tool. When it's minus 30 Celsius and wind is pushing through a cracked window, sealing that gap isn't optional. It's the difference between a survivable room and a hypothermia box. Splint wrap, blister cover, shelter patch, strap repair. You can close a wound edge temporarily. You can bind an improvised stretcher. You can seal a garbage bag poncho at the seams. Every roll is a toolbox you can fit in a coat pocket. Item 7. Fishing line and a pack of assorted hooks from Canadian Tire. $5 Nasir. Here's what most people miss about food in a prolonged emergency. You don't need to hunt, you need passive protein acquisition. Set lines work while you sleep. Tie monofilament to a branch over a creek, bait the hook, walk away. Come back in the morning. You've got more freshwater surface area than anywhere else on the planet. Lakes, rivers, creeks within a short drive of almost every community. People buy $15 freeze-dried meal pouches and pack maybe 3 days worth. $5 buys a protein source that reloads itself every night. Item 8. Contractor-grade garbage bags. 3 mil thickness from Home Hardware. This is another one people dismiss instantly. A single bag becomes a rain poncho. Cut a corner, pull it over your head. It becomes a solar still for water collection. It becomes a water carrier. A 3 mil bag holds up to 100 liters if you support it properly. But here's the one nobody talks about. During the 2003 Northeast blackout, visible light inside homes attracted opportunistic break-ins across Ontario. A black contractor bag taped over a window is light discipline. It's operational security, $0. The cheapest OPSEC tool ever manufactured. Item 9. Bulk salt. $4 at Costco. Meat and fish preservation through dry curing. The oldest food preservation technology in human history. The word salary literally derives from salt. It was currency. When the freezer stops running, everything in it has maybe 48 hours. With salt, you can dry cure protein and extend its shelf life by months without refrigeration. Remember the bleach ratio from earlier. Bleach handles water. Salt handles food. Those two items cost you $8 combined, and they solve the two fastest killers in a grid-down scenario: dehydration and starvation. $4 for a technology that kept armies fed for 5,000 years. Item 10. Heavy-duty aluminum foil. $6. People see leftovers. You should see a signal mirror, a Faraday cage, and a cooking vessel in one roll. Shape a sheet into a parabolic curve behind a radio antenna, and you boost signal directionality by 6 to 8 decibels. That's measurable, testable, repeatable gain. Wrap a small radio or phone in multiple layers and you've got an improvised Faraday wrap against electromagnetic pulse. Polish a flat sheet and angle it toward the sun. Search aircraft can spot reflected light from kilometers away. Fold it into a vessel and you can boil water directly over a flame. $6 for a signal mirror, a Faraday cage, and a frying pan. Here's what just happened. You walked through 10 items: fire, first aid, heat, water purification, thermal retention, repair, food acquisition, security, food preservation, communication. That's every major survival category covered. Total cost sits under $50. You can source every single item within a 15-minute drive from where you're sitting right now. Dollarama, Canadian Tire, No Frills, Costco, Home Hardware, no specialty shops, no online orders, no waiting. The survival industry wants you to believe preparedness costs thousands. It doesn't. It costs $47 in one afternoon. Cheap beats complex, simple beats expensive. Available beats optimal. You're not the person panicking at Costco when the lights go out. You're the one who already has the bag packed. These 10 cover the first 72 hours. What happens at week 2 is a different list entirely. Which of these 10 is already in your kit, and which one are you adding this week?